Us to learn more about UF, Herbert Wertheim College of Engineering graduate programs. We have what we think is a great lineup of panelists here today to share with you their perspectives on our different graduate programs and why we feel UF is a standout institution for engineering grad studies. I will introduce myself first. My name is Krista Smith. I'm the Assistant Director of Graduate Recruiting in the College of Engineering here at UF. And with me today, we have admissions and advising staff and faculty from several different departments, as well as current students, both MS and PhD, who are, in my opinion, the real experts in providing the most valuable information to you as you move forward in your application and admission journey. So as we go through the presentation, please use the Q&A feature in the webinar, and our panelists will do their absolute best to answer your questions as best they can in real time. Okay, so to get us started, slides aren't going forward. There we go. This first slide here is just a couple of QR codes for you to click or follow the links, and depending on which program is of interest to you today, filling out this form will send you to an application fee waiver information, and also as a way for us to keep in touch with you over the course of the next few months as you are applying and waiting for an admission decision. And just as a note, these slides will be posted online as well as a recording of today's session. So just as a note, we are recording. If you need to refer back to these slides at any time, they will be posted on our website, and so they will be there whenever you might need those. To start off, I introduced myself, but I will mention the other members of our team in the Office of Graduate Recruiting, starting with Dr. Toshi Nishida, who is the Associate Dean for Academic Affairs and Professor of Electrical and Computer Engineering. Director of Grad Recruiting is Mike Nazareth, and unfortunately neither of them could be with us today, but we do have Ms. Dallas Betterson, our program coordinator here, to help me out and to manage all the technical side of this webinar and to keep me on task. So thank you, Dallas. Now I'm going to move on to having our presenters introduce themselves, and we will go just in the order of everyone's picture on the slide. So when you're next, just go ahead and introduce yourself. So we'll start with Mike Pierce.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mike Pierce. I'm the Director of Strategic Learning Initiatives and Distance Education in the Office of Workforce Development. I work in conjunction with our departments on their online programs. So great to meet you all.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ade, and I am the Graduate Advisor for the Biomedical Engineering program. I also do admissions as well as graduate advising. So any questions regarding those, feel free to let me know. Thank you.
I'm Travis Anderson. I'm a professor in the Chemical Engineering Department. I'm also the Graduate Recruiting Coordinator for the Chemical Engineering Department, and I'm also a UF Chemical Engineering alumni, as I got my PhD here in 2008.
Hi, I'm Christina Sapp. I work for the CISE department. I do the admissions for our master's and PhD. I also do recruiting and do our career workshops. So welcome aboard and nice to have you guys.
Hello, my name is Paula Johns. I'm the Academic Program Specialist for ESSE, which has the Civil, Coastal, and Environmental Engineering Sciences programs. I mainly work on admissions, but I also work with current students on program issues.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jordan Sharpshare, and I am the Graduate Academic Advisor for the Department of Industrial and Systems Engineering, or ISE. So I handle advising and admissions inquiries. So please drop any questions in the chat for me.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brittany Guerriere. I am the Graduate Admissions Advisor for the Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering Department. So I handle all of the admissions advising for our master's, PhD, and graduate certificate programs. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at gradadmissions@mae.ufl.edu. It's great to meet you.
And yes, I am not Tahara, but I am covering Tahara, so I'm covering, my name is Allison Beatty. I work with Tahara. We are both in the Material Science and Engineering and Nuclear Engineering College, and we would be happy. We cover admissions, we advise undergraduates and graduates as well, but we would love to help you answer any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you, everyone. And moving on to our expert panelists of students. We have 5 students joining us today from 4 different departments who are on hand to give you advice and share their UF experiences. So starting with Danielle. Danielle, would you introduce yourself and maybe say where you're from and what your research is?
Yeah. Hi. So my name is Danielle. I'm a 5th-year PhD student in the Material Science and Engineering Department. So I'm from, I guess, originally Kansas City. Got my undergrad in mechanical engineering from the University of Arkansas. And I guess my research right now is a lot of applied machine learning for X-ray scattering techniques, specifically to battery materials and thin film materials.
Hello guys, I'm Siddharth. I'm doing my master's in computer science in US. I'm originally from India. So yeah, it's good to see you guys here. Feel free to ask any questions you have.
Hey, my name is Bryce Graham. I'm a 4th-year PhD student in transportation engineering and an alumni of the Masters in Urban and Regional Planning program. My research focuses on traffic safety, which bridges both planning and engineering. So happy to be here.
Hello, my name is Channing Levin. I'm an aerospace student. I'm going into candidacy. I've been here for approximately 2 years. My research area is on the interconnection of expensive guidance, navigation, and control algorithms and limited hardware, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions.
Hey everyone, I'm William. I'm a, I think 6th year PhD. I've lost track now, but I'm defending next week and graduating this semester. So I'll be able to give some advice looking at the perspective of the end of the PhD. So this is, I think the 3rd time I've done this. So it's always fun.
Awesome. Thank you, William, and congratulations on making it to the finish line. That's awesome. Okay, before we get into the real meat of the presentation today, I'm going to ask Dallas to start a quick poll. We have one question we like to ask of you, which is just simply, where are you in the process? We know some of you are still deciding whether or not to formally apply. Some of you may have already applied and are just here to get more information. This just helps us to get a sense of who our audience is today. And we'll leave this up for just maybe a few more minutes, but in the meantime, I will go ahead and get started. It's an anonymous poll, so don't feel like we're going to be tracking who's applied and who hasn't applied. This just helps us to get a sense of who you guys are and where you are. All right. Get my slides to go forward. There we go. So to start off, I'm going to provide a little bit of background about UF and a few facts to kind of set up the rest of the discussion today. UF was established in 1853, and it is comprised of 2,000 acres, 900 buildings on our campus. So we are a very large campus, not only in terms of physical space, but in numbers of students as well. We have over 60,000 total students, and of those, almost 20,000 are graduate students, so almost a third. About 5,000 of them are PhD students, and 15,000 are master's or professional students. There are 14 colleges and schools on the UF campus, and over 5,000 faculty. And another key point, UF exceeded, I believe, slightly exceeded $1.26 billion in annual research expenditures this past year. So that is a monumental touch point for us that we are very proud of. Okay. Specifically about the College of Engineering. The College of Engineering was founded in 1910 and was renamed the Herbert Wertheim College of Engineering about 10 years ago, when Dr. Wertheim, who was a UF ECE alum, went on to be an optometrist, inventor, and a businessman, donated a lot of money, $50 million, to our college, and we then became the Wertheim College of Engineering. We are 11 departments strong with 16 degree programs and over 300 tenure track faculty, even more faculty who are focused on teaching. We have 11,250 engineering students, which makes up 19% of UF. 8,000, a little over 8,000 undergrads and a little over 3,000 graduate students. And so of those graduate students, it's about a 2-to-1 ratio master's to PhD. As I mentioned, there are 11 departments in our college. These are listed here in addition to specific areas of focus within computer science and computer engineering departments. Most of our departments grant both master's and PhD degrees, but a few have one or the other, and those are noted here. So applied data science and artificial intelligence systems have master's degrees, as well as digital arts and sciences, and there will be another one coming soon in engineering education. And then human-centered computing only grants a PhD degree. As you might know, many universities appear on multiple, at least one, some type of ranking list. And these are a few examples of where UF stands. We are proud to have appeared in the top 10 on several different lists in recent years, most notably the 2024 Forbes list of new Ivies and top public colleges, and the Wall Street Journal ranked us in 2023 the top public university. The College of Engineering has a large footprint on the UF campus. This isn't even quite the full list of the buildings that we have in the college. Since we've made this list, we need to update it, but we've added 2 new buildings in the past few years. And so our physical impact on campus continues to grow even beyond that 1 million gross square footage mark that you see up there. So one of the buildings that I mentioned that's not included in that previous list is the new Herbert Wertheim Laboratory for Engineering Excellence, which is our college's signature building. It houses lab spaces for several different engineering disciplines, many of whom share lab space to foster cross-disciplinary collaboration. It includes a biotech lab to tackle healthcare's biggest challenges, such as cancer, systemic disorders, and neurodegenerative diseases. There are also state-of-the-art makerspaces and prototyping labs to promote hands-on learning and develop big ideas. And this is also part of the generous gift from Dr. Wertheim, and one of our nicest buildings on campus that we're really proud of. Our undergrad student advising is there. Really interdisciplinary space where faculty and students from across the college come together to share their research ideas and further the research mission of the university and the college. In addition to the Wertheim building, we also most recently built Malachowski Hall for data science and information technology. Its doors opened about a year ago, and it is 263,000 square feet of lovely, mostly windows that face one of the main streets of our campus and houses computer information science and engineering departments, electrical and computer engineering, the Florida Institute for Cybersecurity Research, and the Warren B. Nelms Institute for the Connected World. And again, more makerspace in this building, 3D lab, and designed to even further foster cross collaboration among everyone in our college. So one of UF's strongest partnerships, excuse me, is with NVIDIA. And through our alliance with NVIDIA, we have the fastest AI supercomputer in higher education. The Hypergator, as it's called, is now in its 3rd generation with NVIDIA's most advanced AI software, integrating 140 NVIDIA DGX A100 systems with 1,120 NVIDIA A100 Tensor Core GPUs, and high-performance NVIDIA Mellanox HDR. I'm not going to finish that. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but those of you in the computer science area, this is very impressive. We are proud to have this on our campus, and many students use this for research purposes, not just students in our computer science and engineering departments and data science fields, even biomedical engineering, materials science. It's very interdisciplinary and used by so many students and faculty across campus. Okay, additionally, why you're here. One thing, in addition to all of our numbers, all of the stats and rankings that I can share with you, we are proud of the innovation output and the technology and products that are developed at UF and impact the market and the world at large in many ways. It could be through healthcare devices, software, appliances, infrastructure, etc. At UF, we have more licenses than some renowned institutions like Caltech, Penn State, all those listed there, Texas A&M University. And our faculty also, in addition to being amazing educators and teachers, they are performing research and visions and leaders who are redefining their fields. And we have among them a National Medal of Technology and Innovation Laureate, members of the National Academy of Engineering, the National Academy of Inventors, and now the National Academy of Medicine. One of our engineering faculty, Dr. Christine Schmidt, was just inducted into the NAE and NAM, and National Academy of Engineering and the National Academy of Medicine, which is very rare to have someone inducted into both of those. We have lifetime fellows in the AAAS, American Association for the Advancement of Science, honorees of the Academy of Science, Engineering, and Medicine of Florida. And in addition, we have 60,000 plus growing alumni base, many of whom hold leadership positions in government, academia, and industry. So the footprint of UF reaches far and wide. And like I mentioned, we're not only proud of our numbers, our innovation, we're also proud of the community that we are building and have built here at UF and in our college. We are the #2 engineering degree producer for Hispanic students, #6 for African American students, and #6 for master's degrees, and #10 in doctoral degrees awarded to women. This is something we, again, are very proud of and are continuing to grow. 50% of our college are master's and PhD students, graduate students from outside of Florida and outside of the United States. So while we are proud to serve the citizens of Florida and bring those students in as undergraduates and hopefully future graduates, we also welcome everyone from all over the world at UF. Okay. I'm going to start talking a little bit more in detail about the different degrees that are offered, master's and PhD programs, and what the admissions process looks like. Just in case you were wondering, for comparison purposes, or what you might be up against, I guess, so to speak, for this application cycle. These are our numbers from last year's admissions process. We had 4,244 applications. A little over 2,000 were admitted, which little over 50%. 680 enrolled, and the average GPA was 3.36. And if you are wondering if you have to register and pay for the GRE, the answer is maybe. It depends on what department you are applying to, what degree you're applying to. The GRE is waived for most of our departments except for computer science. So computer information sciences and engineering, I should say. If you're applying to a field in one of those programs or a focus in one of those programs, you will need to submit GRE scores in your application. In addition to any test scores you may need to submit, the other application requirements are an online application to UF admissions. That's required for everyone with a priority deadline of January 5th, 2025. Departments may accept applications after that deadline, but that is the priority deadline for getting all of your application documents submitted and to receive full consideration of your application. You also need to submit unofficial transcripts and degree documents, 3 letters of recommendation on official letterhead, if at all possible, a statement of purpose, and also English proficiency scores, if English is not your native language. There's also some other circumstances that may exempt you from taking the TOEFL or the IELTS score. Those, if you have any questions about those, please enter that in the chat. And just to reiterate, mainly about statements of purpose, departments may have individual requirements and or guidelines for their applications. So I strongly encourage you to check your department's website for additional guidance. That information will not be in the online application or even on our college website. It will be on the department's application information websites. If you have any questions, if you are wanting to know if there's any additional requirements, enter those questions in the chat and our faculty and staff and students here will be happy to answer those for you. If you have not filled out the QR code or gone to the website that I showed earlier for application fee waiver information, there's still time to do that, obviously. These are the departments that do offer application fee waivers for master's students. All of our departments do not offer those, but they are available in chemical engineering, engineering education, SE, which is civil and coastal engineering and environmental engineering, and mechanical and aerospace engineering. And those are the contact information, email addresses for our staff in those areas. If you're interested in fee waivers, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And we do have, I'll get into PhD admitted student events later on in the presentation, but for master students, we do have webinars. So for PhD students, we have an in-person visit. For master's students, it's virtual. We will have admission webinars from March to April of 2025. And with most of the admission decisions happening from November to March, and admission from January to March. It kind of varies depending on department. So those are the timelines for those. Those webinars usually will have a panel of grad staff similar to what we're doing currently right now today. Panel of grad staff, current master students to provide housing recommendations, roommate assistance. Some of our student groups will have individual chat groups through WhatsApp or GroupMe or something like that, and we'll have information about all of that during those admitted student webinars. Okay, so a little more information about the types of degrees and the pathways to different, to completing your degree and funding for master's students. An on-campus master's typically takes 1.5 to 2 years. It's course-based, with more technical expertise, and could also be thesis or research-based. So a lot of programs have 2 different master's degrees. Coursework masters or thesis masters. Coursework masters typically culminate with a final project or capstone experience of some sort, could be an internship. Most departments, there's different ways of completing that. Obviously, a thesis master's will end in a thesis, and there is a thesis defense that's required for master's students if you're pursuing. An online option via Edge, which Mike, if you want to jump in and talk about this, or any department staff want to talk about their Edge program, please let me know. Not all departments have an Edge program, but they typically last similar to an on-campus 1.5 to 2 years, or 3 to 4 semesters. It's entirely distance-based learning, so you do not need to be on the UF campus, and because of that, your tuition is reduced. There are not the same fees that results in a reduced tuition. Some master's students will use their master's degree or admission to a master's program as a pathway to a PhD. That is not something that's guaranteed, but it is possible. And also, if you are able to pursue that option, you would have a nice advantage, because with the caveat, if you're continuing in the same lab and in the same department, if you're doing research in one lab and you're continuing into a PhD, that essentially gives you a little bit of a head start. And faculty will get to know you a little bit better, and you will have an advantage in getting to know faculty, and they'll getting to know you, as opposed to a new PhD applicant that they've never met before and are not familiar with. In terms of funding for master's students, most master's students fund themselves for their studies. So it is possible, but it's rare to receive funding in the second year. If you are a non-Florida resident, though, we do have an academic achievement award in the amount total of $4,500. And that is guaranteed for non-Florida residents at the beginning of your program, and it's spread out over 3 semesters, $1,500 for 3 semesters. A note about the Edge program, that cannot be, the discounted tuition cannot be combined with the academic achievement award. So if you are participating in an Edge program, you would not be eligible for the academic achievement award. And as I mentioned, or since I mentioned, that most master's students do end up funding themselves for their programs, I wanted to briefly mention that UF and the city of Gainesville are relatively low in terms of cost of living, and tuition costs. So you can see at the first chart at the top there, UF ranks #1 in terms of cost of living rating compared with some other peer institutions across the country. As you might expect, University of California schools are quite high in terms of cost of living. Gainesville is a relatively moderately sized town. And it's relatively inexpensive to live here, I would say. So I'm going to ask one of the students. Oh, Siddharth, did you want to speak? Go ahead.
No, I wasn't saying about anything. So, wait, you
Okay,
wanted
you
me
raised your
to-
hand, so
Oh, I'm so sorry.
that's okay, no problem.
So sorry.
Did one of the students want to talk about cost of living in Gainesville and how their student stipend, or if you're a PhD student, which I think most of our students are PhD students here, do you want to speak to how you manage that? Maybe Danielle, could you talk about that?
Yeah, I can talk about it. So, yeah, it's enough for rent and everything. I live in a one-bedroom apartment, and everything is pretty easy going. I feel like having a roommate is a lot easier to split the payments and everything, but there's plenty of housing, lots of houses. I know my friends have a lot of houses with roommates and everything, so I don't think it's an issue with the stipend that we're given and finding housing anywhere.
Awesome, thank you. If you are planning to apply to a master's program and interested in what the specific costs are, this website here down in the bottom left corner is Student Affairs website, which will give you kind of a itemized cost on what the tuition and fees and expenses would be. Channing, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I did. This was really important for me personally when I was moving here, but we just had a new member of our lab who moved from Portugal that's benefiting from this. So I wanted to say that the bus system that's around town is completely free for students. So transportation is always a question that's going on, and there's at least one road that's like southwest of campus, but the bus system is prolific and it's timely, and I can't say that for like I've lived in 5 other different places, so that's not always a given. And it's totally free for students, so it's part of my process to just totally use the bus for free for being a student to get to my classes on time. So that's a big, when it comes to housing, that was a big attractor.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a great point. So their bus system also, in addition to being free to, it operates around campus, it also goes to various places around Gainesville. So if you need to go to the mall, if you want to go to the movies, you don't have a car, definitely a very low cost option and efficient option because it is pretty reliable, I will say. So thanks, Channing, for adding that. Okay, moving on to PhD degrees. If you are coming into a PhD program from a bachelor's degree, so you do not yet have a master's, essentially your complete program would be a PhD and a master's degree together, which totals about 4.5 to 5 years on average. Some students do have a prior master's degree when they come in to the PhD program, and in theory, that shortens your time to degree by maybe a year or two. There's also, disclaimers, right? There's always a disclaimer that probably depends on your research progress and how things go in that sense. We cannot guarantee that your time to degree will be shorter, but it usually ends up working out that way since you're typically able to start research a little earlier than most students who are coming in with a bachelor's degree. You can transfer, or you should be able to transfer many courses from your master's degree if it's in the same discipline as your PhD. Talk to your graduate staff and your advising staff on how to do that. I won't get into all the technical aspects, but there is a petition to the graduate college, and your respective staff will help you do that. That's why they're there to help you. Your department may want to review the master's courses that you've taken and determine which ones are eligible for transfer. Or there could be just a block transfer of all, maybe 30 credits is typically what a master's degree is. and submitted to the graduate college for transfer. And if you are a current UF student and continuing on from a master's degree from UF, same time frame is applicable, usually 3 to 4 years. If you were an UF undergrad and you stay in the same lab from undergrad through master's through PhD, you may even get more of a head start because you started research as an undergrad in that lab. So things to keep in mind. PhD admissions, the statistics similar to the master's ones that I showed you. So for last fall, we had a little over 2,000 applications and 20% were admitted, which amounted to 430. So it is pretty selective and competitive. And of those admitted, 41% enrolled. And that's a great number. I like to attribute that to a team effort from the departments to our team to everyone in the college who's created a wonderful culture that I hope you'll get to experience during our PhD spring visit, which I will talk about here in a second. The average GPA for last year's class was 3.56. And those TOEFL and IELTS scores, those are the university minimums. If you're needing to submit GRE scores, usually 140 or over is what's required. The application requirements are very similar to what I showed for master's degrees. The priority deadline, though, is a month earlier, so that is December 5th. The requirements are the same, but I will also state again, I would be diligent in checking the department websites just to make sure you've dotted all your I's and crossed all your T's in terms of individual requirements that they might have. Most graduate or most PhD students, I should say, come in with an assistantship, which are 4 to 5 year awards that are renewed each year based on student evaluations. And as long as you're making satisfactory progress in your degree and continuing to perform adequately, those will be renewed. And with that assistantship comes a tuition waiver, health insurance and benefits, and the stipend is minimum $32K per year. If you are coming in with an external fellowship, so the NSF GRFP, for example, or an NIH fellowship, UF has some internal fellowships that may be awarded to you as an incoming student. The college does provide some extra money as an incentive for students to bring in those awards. If you need more information about that, please feel free to reach out to me or to any of the grad staff. We'd be happy to answer those questions. So I mentioned spring visit for PhD students. This is our annual on-campus visit for admitted PhD students, which occurs usually the end of the 3rd week of February every year. So this year it's February 20th through the 23rd. And this will happen after admission notifications have gone out. As I mentioned, the priority deadline is December 6th, and departments will review applications starting on the deadline is December 5th, and we will start reviewing on December 6th. Or possibly even earlier. It's possible to receive a notice of admission even before that deadline. But the bulk of them will go out in mid to late December to early January, some trickling in late January, but we want to get those to you as soon as possible so you can start planning for our spring visit, which happens in late February. You are eligible to participate in spring visit if you are currently in the United States. So even if you're an international student, if you were an international student living in the US currently, you are eligible to participate. You will have most of your time spent with your department. And so that's meant for obvious reasons. So you can meet faculty, you can meet students, get to know the department culture, get as much information as possible on that department so you can make your decision on if UF is the right place for you. We will have some college-wide events. We have a spring visit brunch with all of the spring visit invitees and faculty and some graduate student volunteers. That is usually Saturday morning and gives an opportunity for you to meet your PhD cohort across other departments. And last but not least, most importantly, all of the costs are covered by us. So your flights, your mileage if you're driving, hotels, meals, incidentals, you can submit for reimbursement to us or we'll cover on the front end. If you want more information on the schedule, you can look at previous year's schedules. There's a website down here that will show more details for you. And my mouth is getting dry. I've talked a lot, and so I'm going to start calling on some of my colleagues and some of the students to chime in here. In the Life as a Gator section, I'll start with the industry connections that we try to provide for you as a student in the college. The UF Career Center does have a career showcase twice a year. One of the biggest ones in this region. We have hundreds and hundreds of companies coming to fill our basketball arena. And we invite all of our students to come and meet with companies and talk about potential employment opportunities, internships, co-ops, and the like. There's a list of some of the companies that have participated there. In addition to college-wide events, some of our departments also have specific events exclusive for their own students. And I'm going to let some of my colleagues talk about those. Ade, would you like to talk about the BME Industry and Alumni Connect?
Yeah, absolutely. So every fall we have the industry connection event where we bring in industry partners to the department to meet with some of our students and also talk about opportunities and some of them are actually looking to hire. So it's a good way for students to connect with some of our industry partners to, get information about, what's going on in the industry and depending on the type of industry they're interested in and the opportunity to probably join some of those companies. So yeah, we usually do that every fall. We recently had the one for this fall. And we also do it in conjunction with Research Day. So students have the opportunity to present their research as well. And again, it's an opportunity for the industry partners to see what our students are doing within their research labs. And again, it creates that connection with the students as well as the industry partners. So yeah, we do that every fall, and then we'll be having that again next fall.
Great, thank you. Christina, would you like to talk about the CISE Career Fair and Development Workshop?
Yeah. So we have ours twice a year. We have them fall and spring. We have about 50 companies that attend this event and it's specifically just for our students. And I know this past fall, we had approximately over 2,300 students come through. So a lot of our students will get internships as well as potential jobs. So yeah, this is something that we've been doing since I've been there 14 years. So it's definitely grown and it's a wonderful thing that we do. So definitely if you come to our program, I highly recommend you attending this event.
Thank you. SE Evening with Industry. Paula, would you like to say a few words about that?
Sure. So we're actually having our event next week because we had to reschedule because of the hurricanes and whatnot that came through. But we have over 100 employers that will be at this event. We often have to turn employers away just because of the demand, but we have a lot of alumni that are in these companies that will come back to UF and recruit our students, both at the undergrad and graduate level. So we are connecting our students pretty much at every point in their academic career. And we always encourage our students to volunteer with this event as well, so they can have that one-on-one time with these employers beyond just, interviewing during the actual fair.
Perfect, thank you. Jordan, ISE Career Fair, would you like to speak about that?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, we hold our ISE career fair every fall semester. And like the other ones, we have, companies that are specifically looking for, students from our industrial and systems engineering degree programs, looking for students to fill positions for internships or, full-time positions. And like this last year, we had Carnival, planning and industrial engineering from Disney, GE, General Mills, PepsiCo, Walmart. So we have a lot of employers attend a lot of large national corporation and multinational corporations.
Excellent, thank you so much. And last but not least, Brittany, would you like to speak on the MAE events that you hold?
Yeah, so mainly we offer internship courses for our students for professional development. So if there is a company that you have earned internship with, you just let us know. We will ask you to fill out a little bit of paperwork, and then there's a course to enroll for that. So if you have any questions about this, please feel free to send me an email at gradadmissions@mae.ufl.edu. I'd be happy to help.
Thank you all so much. Okay, so you might be wondering about the housing opportunities for graduate students on the UF campus. We do have on-campus opportunities or options, I should say, for graduate students or working professionals, and there are a few of the complexes listed there. I will say many students live off campus, and we've listed some websites there with as resources for places to look for listings. A few common ones listed there: the Pavilion, the Ridge at Gainesville, Cabana Beach. Those seem to be relatively popular. I hear about those a lot. But I am going to ask some of our students to talk about their housing experiences or give any advice, insight on that side of things. So let's see, Bryce, would you be able to talk about that?
Sure, yeah. I've had two different housing situations since living in Gainesville. I lived at a great off-campus complex that I found through a previous member of my department, and I would recommend, like, that's typically the best route to go that I've heard from a lot of grad students, is if you can have like a personal connection that, before you get there, can show you what the conditions are like, give you some insights on what it's like working with maintenance, things like that that are a little bit more difficult to get to, just going through an email or a phone. And then since last fall, I've been living in the graduate housing on campus and love it there. But the wait list is pretty long. I think it's like typically 2 to 3 years that it takes to get through that. So like for most master's students, probably not an option. But if you are coming for a PhD, as soon as you get admission, you can put your name on the list and always drop out if you don't want to live there when you get your turn. But super affordable, super convenient, and really just a fun community to live in because there's people from just all corners of the world living together. So
Great, thank you. Siddharth, did you have anything to add about housing?
Yeah, sure. I mean, just as Bryce said, when I had two housing situations in the last 1.5 year, I was here doing my master's. So it's pretty much that you can find everything on the site here, and everything is pretty available. And you have wide variety of options that you can explore with great, you know, the facilities and environment and the communities and stuff, which are pretty good and nice. Some are pretty equipped, some are close to the campus. You can just walk by and enjoy the campus feel on the happening and stuff. So yeah, uh, off campus is something that you can really check out. You have great options close to the off campus and which are, and even though some are quite far from the campus, you still have the bus connectivity all through the town, which makes it easy for the students, which is pretty much free just by accessing through your student ID. So it shouldn't be that tough to students to navigate through the town. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we all need some time outside of the lab or the classroom to decompress, have a little fun. So we wanted to try and shed some light on what life at UF would be like outside of work or class. If you're interested in participating in a student org, there are over 900 of them on the UF campus. I've listed a few here that may be of interest, particular to this audience, to engineers, but there are really student orgs that are for any type of interest that you might have, not necessarily professional interest. If you're into sports, there are intramural or rec sports. We're a Division I school. We're a football school, I would say, in the South, so that may speak for itself to describe what the culture is like. We have a football stadium that seats, I think, probably half the town, so that's a big event, usually in the fall on Saturdays. I mentioned our basketball arena. The Exactech Arena seats almost 13,000 people. That's where basketball, volleyball, gymnastics are all held. If you're a nature person, which I personally love living in Florida for these reasons, there's lots of things to do in and around Gainesville, including some freshwater springs, hiking trails, state parks, natural preserves. Obviously, we're close, relatively close to beaches, about an hour or so away, maybe a little more depending on which one you're going to. UF has a lake nearby that is owned by UF and free to students. I think maybe that paddleboarding picture down there is Lake Waburg, which is what I'm referring to. But I'm going to, again, call on some other folks to talk about this, so I don't have to ramble on too much longer. Let's see, William, you're about ready to be finished, right? Do you want to talk about life at UF over the time you've been here?
Yeah, so we've really enjoyed the fact that UF is very close to downtown here, and they've got a lot of coffee shops, so you can get your coffee addiction going. And Butler Plaza is also on the other side, and Celebration Point, which has a really nice movie theater. So there's lots of stuff to do around campus, and a lot of that is walkable depending on how much you want to walk. And so we've got 2 dogs here, so we find places to take them out and whatnot in case you're a dog person, or I suppose one of those people who trains their cats to walk outside. So yeah, definitely lots of places to explore and things to do. Also, the campus is really nice to just walk around when you have some free time. between classes or research or anything like that. The green area and around the Rights Union is always nice to just kind of hang out there. So.
Thank you. Anybody else want to talk? Maybe one of our faculty or staff? Dr. Anderson, did you want to chime in with any?
Well, so yeah, I mean, so I just started back at UF in July, so it's great to be back in Florida. I loved it here as a student. I found a lot of things to do. And you know, I'm learning now what all what all has changed and what hasn't changed. But you know, that's the thing I love about North Florida is the amount of outdoor things to do. Going to the springs, you know, you have the choice of going to the West Coast or to the East Coast or both. I mean, you can you know, you could catch sunrise in St. Augustine and sunset at Cedar Key in the same day. And that's a very unique opportunity that you don't get in most parts of the US. Another thing that I enjoyed as a student and also now that I have kids is the proximity to Orlando and getting to go to Disney World and all the theme parks. As Florida residents, we get discounts. You know, and it's close enough to Jacksonville and Tampa as well. You know, you can catch a lot of events, you know, kind of concerts and things there. And of course, you know, you can't beat football weekend in a SEC town. You know, tailgating and going to the stadium. So yeah, it's great.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Leads perfectly into my next slide, which is other things to do a little bit further outside of Gainesville. Well, in Gainesville and a little bit further out. So in addition to the nature, the sports, student orgs, there's also lots of local restaurants and breweries, things that are unique to unique to Gainesville and our community here. A really nice arts and culture scene, I would say, and music. And as we just mentioned, not too far away from both oceans, right? So, and lots of wonderful, beautiful beaches. Allison, I don't think I've called on you yet. Did you want to chime in with anything that you might like, particularly about UF or Gainesville? Or
I love it. I have lived here my whole life. I went back to UF in the 1900s, so I've pretty much stayed in this North Florida area. But yes, very convenient to and NFL teams, Jacksonville Jaguars there, Tampa's there. You can go either way. Very good just arts and crafts. They have the spring festival that's very nice. We also have one in the fall and the spring. It's called a Friends of the Library if you're into books. We have a great big sale in the community that's awesome. You can find some pretty much vintage stuff sometimes too, depending on what you're looking for. But very phenomenal. It's a great place to live. And we survive hurricanes too. So we've had it some. So if you're scared of hurricanes, campus is great. They're really good about getting, you know, safety out. If you're staying in the dorms, and even the students can say if they're even off campus, we have lots of resources if hurricanes come our way. The community does. We answer those calls.
that's a good point. Thank you. I haven't mentioned the hurricanes yet, so thank you for saying. Okay, so to kind of wrap things up, we just have one kind of all-inclusive slide about some points we want to leave you with, or some thoughts we want to leave you with before we end our session today. And that's, you know, why we think UF is the place for you. Not only are we a world-class research-intensive environment, we try and facilitate as many industry and alumni connections for our students as we can. We have alumni that are out doing great things in the world, all over the world. And we try as hard as we can to bring them back to interact with our students and to make those connections to help current students find employment, find internships, make their own way in the world when they leave here. We have department exclusive events, so things that you may not be able to access in other departments or other institutions across the country or across the world. If you're looking globally for graduate opportunities. We have many student organizations, many ways to get involved with campus, with the community, with your profession, with your peers, leadership opportunities. There's really so much to do and a lot that you can make out of your graduate student experience here. A vibrant campus life, a wonderful community, and lots of things to do beyond the community. So all of these things together, we think, make us very unique. And if anyone has any questions about this, please let us know. I will put up everyone's contact information here. And again, don't feel like you have to, I'm sorry, Dr. Anderson, I don't have your contact information up here, but I can add that to our slide later before I post them. So if you have any questions after the presentation, please reach out to us. We are here to answer your questions to the best we can. Again, I will put this slide up in case anyone missed it or anyone joined a little bit late. These are QR codes that point to application fee waiver information, as well as forms that will keep you up to date with all of the information from our college and from the various departments that you're interested in. So with that, I'm going to wrap up and ask, are there any questions in the Q&A that we need to answer? Anything that we need to go over? Dallas?
No, they asked for the, excuse me, one was unanswered about the code for the waiver, and I think you posted that in the last slide.
Okay, yes. So those QR codes will be on the slides. You can access those after the presentation. Once they're posted, they should be posted momentarily after we're done here, but by tomorrow morning at the latest. So if you need those, they will be there. Any other unanswered, lingering thoughts or questions? No? Okay, hearing nothing. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We hope we've given you all the information that you need to make an informed decision about UF, but if you have any additional questions or need additional information, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Hope you all have a wonderful evening and take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.